in this episode.
All right, so let's have a real conversation today. It's really happening, and it is a lot. Everything from why are you going, when are you going, how are you going, how can I join you? I woke up one day and I realized that I was living a life that looked great, but it didn't really feel like me anymore. All right, so let's have a real conversation today. Just you and me. Some of you guys may have heard already. Some of you may not have heard. I have some very big life changes happening at the moment. But I'm just going to come out and say it, and that's that I'm leaving America. I am leaving for good. I'm uprooting my life, everything I've ever built in my entire career, everything I've known my whole life. And I'm going to move to London. It's really happening. And it is a lot. Scary, so emotional. I go from one extreme to the other. I'll feel overwhelming excitement, so ready to go that I would leave today. And then the next second, I've got overwhelming sadness at everything I'm leaving behind. What I mean when I say I feel like I don't really have many choices. And sadness as to why I feel like I have to leave in the first place. I just want to talk about what that means. I've gotten so many DMs and so many texts about the move. Everybody full of questions. Everything from why are you going, when are you going, how are you going, how can I join you? So I thought it was time to just address it myself. I know to some people it felt like an overwhelming piece of news out in the middle of nowhere, but it's really been brewing for a little while. I really think the best way to explain it is just that I woke up one day and I realized that I was living a life that looked great, but it didn't really feel like me anymore. From the outside, I'd hear he's successful. He owns his own studio. He's acting and he's making his dreams come true. He's doing really, really great. And I was. And I am. I'm not negating anything that I've done in my career. I'm proud and grateful for all of those things. Everything I've been given an opportunity to do, everything I've tried that's been successful, and everything I've tried that hasn't been. I'm proud of everything that I've created. But it got to a point that it felt like there was this heaviness inside me. This quiet pressure that I kept trying to ignore it. And I'm sure some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like a weight, and it just follows you. A sadness or a depression, not overwhelming, not stopping me from moving forward, but it was still always there. And I finally just had to admit it. I was just stagnant in my life. I was shrinking. I was just standing still. And standing still for somebody like me is not a very good place to be. It's kind of the opposite of who I am at my core. But I saw myself turning into somebody else. Most people don't know this about me, but I spent most of my 20s and really half of my 30s on the road. I lived in a different city in a different state every single year. I've lost count of how many places I've lived. For an entire decade, I bounced to new cities, new states, new locations, new cultures with different types of people in different situations. The dance industry really afforded me that opportunity to be on the move all the time, in more ways than one. I've driven across the United States from one end to the other 11 times. And I've driven through the entire country of Mexico, down one coast and then back up the other. I've lived on every coast. I've met people from many different walks of life. Always thinking diversity, passion, growth, learning. Those are the things that make up me. That's who I am in my spirit. So when life started becoming the same, day after day after day, the same drive to the studio, the same walls all day long, same schedule, the same rhythm. Even though it was successful, even though it was beautiful, to me, it felt like I was slowly disappearing inside my own life. And that is a terrifying feeling, especially for somebody like me. So over time, that weight, that pressure started to add up. And then on top of that, there's the America part. And listen, I'm not going to turn this into some political rant. I'm not going to sit here and complain about the right versus the left. I'm not going to turn it into a political tirade. But I'm going to tell the truth. And I'm going to be honest. Because we really don't get enough of that, especially in this country, especially right now. Even defining what that word truth means sometimes gets fuzzy, which is so strange. A big part of why I'm leaving is because the America that I grew up being told existed doesn't actually exist, or at least it doesn't exist anymore. I grew up believing and being told and being groomed that this is the greatest country in the world. No place beats America. Everyone wants to come here. This is the land of opportunity, the land of fairness, the land of kindness, a beautiful melting pot. Remember that. Everything that we were taught as children, everything we were taught to believe from childhood, turned out to not be as important after all. And over the past few years, I've watched those things fall apart literally. I have watched kindness be translated as weakness. I have watched compassion being turned into controversy. And I've watched neighbors turn into enemies, even family. And politics became a war that people use against each other. I found myself looking around and thinking, this is not the place I was told it was. And I don't say that lightly. There's a lot of thought that goes into that. I realize to say anything negative about America, first of all, brings controversy in itself. But I've lived here for 52 years. I'm entitled to my opinion. My dad fought for this country so that I could have a better life. I grew up in a military family. My dad fought in Vietnam. He did that so that I could live a better life than he did. I've been heartbroken, disillusioned, tired. I'm tired of the division in this country. I'm tired that cruelty is just normal. I'm tired of a system that profits off its own people. Don't even get me started on taxes, and don't even get me started on how I believe that America treats their citizens. We'll save that for another video. I'm also tired of the constant grind, the feeling that you're only valuable if you're exhausted. You're only worth what you possess. We have to be the best. We have to work the hardest. We have to achieve the most. At some point, you have to look around and say, is this it? Is this it? This is where I'm now going to be for the rest of my life? For me, the answer was no. And that's why I'm doing something about it. It's time for a shift into something hopeful, something challenging but exciting. I'm really excited to not know what's coming. I'm not just leaving America. I'm returning to a part of myself that has always been there. I've been in America since I was 4 months old, but I was born in England. I've always been a British citizen. I've just never lived there before. Instead, I grew up in America with American ideals, being told what American values are, having that strong national identity, but I've always been dual nationality. That's been a part of me even though I've never really explored it. And the older I've gotten, the more that kind of comes to the front of my mind, and that connection has started to mean something more to me. It's a new challenge, a new piece of my identity that kind of has been quietly calling me home. And I felt clarity that a new beginning is exactly what I need in my life at this time. It just all made sense. Made the whole decision make sense, really. And honestly, it was a way that I wasn't even expecting. I'm not abandoning my life here. I'm just expanding it. Just making it bigger. Giving myself more options. I'm going to be stepping into who I am supposed to be next. Whoever that turns out to be. And I am so excited to not know. There's grief in that too. And trust me, I feel it. I'm going to miss my friends. I'm going to miss my community that I built. And my students. That's the hardest part. These people have been a part of my life for well over a decade. They have shaped me. They are my sisters and my brothers, my family. They're the reason that Darren's Ballroom exists, and they were the reason I kept going. I can't condense 15 years into a clip. Let's give it a try and take a look at Darren's Ballroom over the years.
Hey, bro, don't you look at that? I said, my friend, what you looking at? I think she is something for me. Excuse me, miss, it's my first time here. Maybe you can show me out of here. I think she got something indeed. So please forgive my rudeness if I'm tripping over your time. But you look so amazing. And we can be so much more than who we are. So much more than who we are. We can. Knee deep in while the world just falls apart. but you look so amazing.
Letting go of the studio for sure is going to sting. But I know and I feel our relationships are ending. We're just shifting. Distance doesn't erase love. And distance also doesn't equal disappearance. I'm still going to be around. So why England? Why now? Because for the first time in a long time, I want to live a life that surprises me again. I want to wake up and not know what's going to happen. In England, I want to walk more. I want to bike more, breathe more. I want to feel connected to the world, everything around me. I want to create new stories again. I want to feel alive, really alive. And more than anything, I want a life that isn't already written. A blank page, fresh start, a new chapter. And that's what this is becoming. A real-time documentary of a man rebuilding his life from the ground up. Searching for joy, peace, new adventure, connection, growth. I'm choosing something new, something challenging, instead of staying stuck in something that is familiar, no matter how comfortable, no matter how beautiful it was. So if you're watching this, I want you with me. Comment below, what are your challenges? What are your struggles? Do you ever dream of leaving wherever you're living now? Where would you go? How would you get there? I hope you'll join me on every step that I take. Every mile, every new discovery, every laugh, every moment that I stand in a new place and I turn and look at the camera and I say, can you believe this? Because I really can't wait to do that. And I want you all to see it with me. And that brings me to the channel. Cup of Tea. It's changing. And it's growing with me. I'm going to be doing episodes about what is it really like to move to a new country that you've never lived in before, to assimilate into a new culture. You can see videos on what to expect, what I've experienced, what it's like, the culture shock that I experience when I arrive, healthcare differences, insurance differences, what it's like to learn all of those new systems. And the thing I'm most excited about is biking around European cities and historic sites. Maybe we can all learn a little something new together. British life versus American life, and honestly, just rediscovering who I am in a new environment and excited to see what that means. This whole journey from packing my house to landing in London, I'm going to document it and I'm going to share it with you guys so you can see what is it like for somebody to say, I'm going to end this and I'm going to try something new. It's about choosing a better version of who I am. One where I'm not running myself into the ground to achieve some imaginary version of whatever society thinks is success. One where my health, my happiness, my dogs, my peace, they actually matter. It's scary, but it's exciting. And I don't know how everything is going to turn out. And that's the best part. But I do know this. It is definitely time. So buckle up, because my life is about to get big changes. And I want you there right with me. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so you get reminded when there's a new video. So until the next time, I'm Darren Lee Cupp. Keep showing up, keep moving, and keep sipping from the good stuff.